Hello and welcome. I'm Carly Rixum, Executive Director for the American Solar Energy Society, and I'd like to thank you for joining us on our monthly webinar series. Before we get started, I'd like to update you on who ASES is and highlight some of our current events and programs. The American Solar Energy Society, ASES, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that was established in 1954 and advocates for sustainable living and 100% 100% renewable energy by sharing information, events, and resources to cultivate community and power progress. You can join our community anytime at ases.org/join. And webinar registrants get a special 10% off discount on all ASES membership, except for life memberships, by using promo code webinar. ASES will be having our 51st annual National Solar Conference, Solar 2022, Energy Transition with Economic Justice in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the University of New Mexico from June 21st to 24th. The conference will feature a celebration event for NMCIA's 50th anniversary, a tour of Sandia National Laboratory solar research facilities, NABCEP registered solar installer workshops, and much more. The opening reception on June 21st will feature the father of modern linguistics and most cited scholar in modern history, Noam Chomsky, as well as poets to the local Albuquerque area. All the conference sessions will be live streamed for you to watch in real time, and then will be available later in a recorded format for conference registrants. There will be a lot of networking opportunities available in this year's hybrid format. So learn more about the schedule, pricing, accommodations at ases.org. Also want to remind everyone that our National Solar Tour is coming up October 1st and 2nd this year. So visit nationalsolartour.org to get involved. One of our member feature benefits is our Solar Today magazine, a quarterly publication. This is connecting readers in the solar and sustainability community. And now I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Sydney Munoz, speaking on the topic of solar volunteer opportunities for college students and solar financing for nonprofits. Sydney Munoz is a climate optimist, passionate about creating a more sustainable world through innovation solutions and community engagement. She has experience leading projects centered on sustainability issues, including solar and renewable energy, waste reduction efforts, transportation demand management, sustainability behavior, and infrastructure change. Sydney is currently the Community Engagement Coordinator for RE-volv, a solar nonprofit that helps nonprofits across this country go solar. At RE-volv, Sydney manages RE-volv's volunteer solar ambassador program, communications, and community engagement efforts. Sydney received her Master of Sustainability Leadership degree from Arizona State University and has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in marketing from Southern Oregon University. Please welcome Sydney Munoz.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carly. I'm happy to be here. I'm just going to pull up my slides real quick, so hopefully everybody can see the slides. Just wanted to verify that.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, everybody. As Carly mentioned, my name is Sydney Munoz, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at RE-volv, and I'm also an ASES board member as well. I joined in January, so excited to be serving on ASES as well, and excited to be here and talking with you all about RE-volv. We're going to be talking about two of our main programs. The first one is our Solar Ambassador Volunteer Opportunity for college students, and then we're also going to be talking about solar financing for nonprofits, two of the main things that that we do, and hopefully this will be helpful for you all. And so I just wanted to provide a quick overview of what the presentation will cover today. So we'll start with an overview of RE-volv, just a quick introduction into what we do, and then we'll get into solar financing for nonprofits. This presentation is really geared towards installers or folks that are installing and have maybe nonprofit customers that are interested in going solar but are struggling with that financial piece. And so hopefully this will be a helpful tool tool if you have nonprofits that are interested in going solar right now or in the future who are struggling with that financial component. That's something that we specialize in and are happy to help with. So that will be focused on our installers. And then we'll also go over to our Solar Ambassador program. Our Solar Ambassador program is focused on college students. However, the program is open to community members as well. So we've had community members and some retirees in the program as well. And then we'll go into Q&A. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to chat them. And then I'm also happy to email offline too during this presentation, or if you're watching the recording at a later date. I'm always happy to chat more. So yeah, I'll start with an overview of RE-volv and what we are. So we're a nonprofit. We're a climate justice organization that offers solar financing to help fellow nonprofits go solar, while also educating community members about the benefits of clean energy. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're based out of San Francisco, but our team of 6 is all remote. So I'm based in Colorado, and we have team members across the country. And we're incorporated in 2011, so we have about 11 years of experience and work as a nonprofit organization. So when our founder and executive director created RE-volv, we identified some clean energy challenges and really what encouraged us and inspired us to create our nonprofit. Challenge 1 was the limited ability for citizens to drive clean energy adoption. And we see that in people can bring energy, solar energy to their home, but there are some limitations to that in terms of if folks aren't able to go solar, or how do we help the organizations that we care about most go solar and benefit from renewable energy. The second is the lack of access to clean energy finance for marginalized communities. So this is a really big one for us. There is a lack of access for nonprofits in particular and marginalized communities to be able to go solar due to the upfront cost of solar or access to solar financing in general. And then the third one, and I think it's something that ourselves and ASES and all of the ASES chapters and student chapters are working on, is raising that public awareness about clean energy and helping to drive the movement forward. So this is a quote that really resonates with what we do and why we do it. So it states, PV installations often result in a feedback loop. When a few residents in a community get solar, known as seed customers, it compels others to join. So maybe your neighbor went solar and that kind of inspires you to join because you're seeing it every day as you are in your house or driving home. Maybe you've talked with your neighbor about it and you have that more personal relationship with somebody who has solar and learn from somebody who has solar, and it compels you to consider going solar yourself at home. And so we're taking that concept and trying to put it into more of a community scale. So if there's a nonprofit in the community who maybe it's a school that your child goes to, or maybe it's a house of worship, or possibly a food bank or something like that, a community serving nonprofit in your community, if they go solar, our hope is that it inspires their community members who live around that nonprofit, their donors and their network to also go solar as well. So helping to spread the seeding effect of solar is really our main mission, and doing that through nonprofits. And hopefully help spread solar in a hyper-local level in communities across the country. So where to start? We've identified that there's roughly 1.5 million nonprofits in the US that face major barriers to getting their solar projects financed. And I know some of y'all on the call might know some of those many barriers or have experienced themselves as an installer. So where to start? I think the big one is unable to claim tax credits. So right now, our solar investment tax credit for going solar, it's around 26%. So individuals and businesses are able to claim that tax credit. As nonprofits ourselves and the nonprofits that we serve, in addition to houses of worship, they don't have a tax appetite. And so they're not able to claim that tax credit, at least how the current structure is written. And so that makes it, as nonprofits, we are on tight budgets oftentimes, especially the community serving nonprofits that we serve that are small to medium size. We have tight budget restraints, fundraising and different things like that. So being able to not save about a fourth of the cost of a project, it can be really burdensome for nonprofits to have to pay that whole upfront cost compared to others that are maybe able to utilize that tax break. And so another one is difficult to prove creditworthiness. So homeowners have a FICO score. Businesses find it easier to prove their creditworthiness. And so nonprofits oftentimes find it harder to prove their creditworthiness if they are searching for financing to go solar. Typically, a lot of nonprofits would likely need to have financing. Another way they are able to go solar is if a donor or through a grant where they're getting that upfront capital, but a lot of nonprofits don't have that upfront capital to be able to pay for a system outright, or if they do, decide to put that towards their programs and their mission and their services. And then the last one is sometimes projects are often too small. So this can vary greatly. There's nonprofits out there that are very large nonprofits that we all know about, but there's a lot of nonprofits that are really small community serving nonprofits. What we cater to mostly are small to medium sized nonprofits, such as the local house of worship down the street, a local school, a local food bank, an after school program or community garden. These nonprofits oftentimes their system size is also small. And so in that 5 to 10, 15, 20 kilowatt. And so it's harder for them to find financing compared to larger systems that are more kilowatt hours that are possibly easier to finance. And so those are the barriers that we faced and kind of what we were founded on as a nonprofit ourselves. So I really love this photo that we have here. It's our a solar installation for Harbor House in Oakland. It's a youth after school program for students in the Oakland area. It serves students of all ages, children of all ages. So everything from after school homework help for students, providing nutritious snacks for them in a safe place for them to stay after school. In addition to older students who are in high school, they provide leadership opportunities, and then also for parents, they provide English as a second language classes as well. So it's a great nonprofit, and one thing that I love about this project is that the students can see the solar from their playground. So they're playing on the playground and they're able to see that solar, and our ambassadors led this project. Our ambassadors in Oakland in the Bay Area led this project, and they did a lot of hands-on education with the students where they talked about solar energy. They had a playhouse and the students made cardboard solar panels on the house as a part of that project. But that real connection to the solar panels and the people that nonprofit serves is our mission, and something that we really look for when we're trying to help a nonprofit go solar. And so with that, I wanted to talk about our 3 pillars, which is empower, invest, and educate. Empower is our Solar Ambassador Fellowship, which we'll get to later in the presentation. The next is invest, and that's our 20-year solar lease or power purchase agreement for nonprofits. And our third one is educate, which is our community engagement piece, which is a really big piece of the work that we do. And so I wanted to start by talking about solar financing for nonprofits. And so there's so many benefits of going solar. As we know, in a home or business, it's a great way to reduce emissions. We don't have to use non-renewable energy resources, saves money. So there's so many of that, and all of those apply to nonprofits. But in addition, there's different benefits that are applied to a nonprofit. The first one is nonprofit saves money. So whether they're going solar through us or going solar by themselves, a nonprofit saving money on their work is much of a bigger impact than a business saving money. So that nonprofit, any dollar that they don't spend on their electricity bill gets sent back into their mission, whether that's providing more food at a food bank, more services to students, or what have you. Any money that nonprofit saves is less liability for that nonprofit to have to fundraise, and also gets put back into their mission. And so the nonprofit can invest their savings directly back into the core work that they do. Also, another benefit of solarizing nonprofit through us or any other solar company is it connects to their mission. So many of the nonprofits that we solarize are not directly focused on renewable energy, sustainability, or conservation. I'd say probably we have a handful of projects focused on that. All of our other projects are focused in different areas. And all of the nonprofits that we help solarize see going switching to solar and renewable energy as a way to connect to their mission, and also help say that that mission, that their nonprofit is focused on sustainability in some way or another. So for a school, that's helping to create a more prosperous society and a clean energy or a clean society for their students to be to grow up in. And then that resiliency piece is especially important for nonprofits, being able to not have to have those burdens and those fixed costs of the electricity bill every month, or not as many. And then just a key pillar in the community, I think when a community serving nonprofit goes solar, a lot of people trust that nonprofit or that house of worship. They go there, they have a relationship. And so hopefully solarizing these nonprofits will help spread clean energy throughout the community as well. So coming back to a little bit about the requirements for our program, specifically, we offer solar financing for nonprofits. So we're not a solar installer. We focus and work directly with a local solar installer in the area who will do the whole installation. We provide the financing to help make these projects possible. And so the requirements we have is that they're a community serving nonprofit. That's really important to us. No matter the impact area, we wanted to make sure that they're serving their community and they're outward focused so that really we can engage their community in solar education and hopefully helping them go solar. Their roof is less than 10 years old, and preferably they own their own building, but we've also solarized nonprofits in long-term leases that are committed to staying there. We just want to make sure that the long-term lease that they're going to be the ones that are benefiting from the renewable energy and not another maybe business that is not a nonprofit coming into that space. And so we solarize nonprofits in two different ways. First is a PPA or power purchase agreement, and the second is a solar lease. From our standpoint, we typically go with the power purchase agreement. It's more similar to what a nonprofit would be used to paying in terms of an electricity bill, where it varies by month of how much they generate and how much they use. A solar lease is our second option. It's a fixed monthly cost. Both of them, they'd be paying the same amount. Just a solar lease requires us to do a true up at the end of the year to make sure that if we potentially overcharge based on the expected usage, we would give them back that overcharge. So they're both the same. The PPA is just a little bit easier on the accounting side. But then again, we provide both because some states don't offer PPA or some prefer leases over a power purchase agreement. And so for our solar financing, we help nonprofits go solar for zero down. So that's a huge thing for us and something that's very important. There are a lot of nonprofits that don't have that upfront capital, that 10,000, 30,000, 15,000 in savings to drop on going solar right away. And so our program allows them to go solar for zero down. They can provide a down payment if they would like, and it would reduce their monthly payments, but I'd say a majority go solar for zero down. And then we offer 15% or more electricity bill savings on the nonprofit from day one. So after their first month of being installed, they'll see 15% savings on their solar system. And then throughout the lease or the PPA timeline, that will go up. And the 15% is our benchmark. It can vary greatly by state, mostly just related to the cost of electricity in that state. So for our nonprofits in California, we are able to save more money, save that nonprofit more money on their electricity bills because the cost of electricity is so high. And then our nonprofits in South Carolina, we've solarized a few veteran of foreign war posts in South Carolina. So those are looking about 15% because they have a lower cost of electricity electricity. So that's where we get the percentage range from, directly related to their cost of electricity, and also the cost of the installation too can vary slightly throughout the country. And through our program, we offer 20-year term. So we are the owner of the system for the 20 years. And so we cover all operations and maintenance. If anything goes down, we cover that. At the end of the 20-year, we hand over the system to the nonprofit for free. And the nonprofit is able to own that up until the solar panels aren't working. So they're guaranteed for 25 years through the manufacturer. And then after that, we know that panels can last for many years after their guarantee, but they're looking at a guaranteed 25 years. And I think another thing that makes RE-volv special, and something that a lot of our nonprofits really identify with, is our solar seed fund. So we help nonprofits go solar, help them save money on their electricity bills. And as that nonprofit pays us back every month, that money gets put in directly into our solar seed fund. And we use that exclusively to pay for the next nonprofit solar project. So it's a revolving fund, and where we got our name RE-volv from. And this really helps to bring solar to the next nonprofit. And so when we were just bringing solar to a few nonprofits, that fund was growing. And as we've brought solar online, and about 3.3 megawatts of solar online, as those nonprofits pay us back, we're able to grow that fund and help more and more nonprofits go solar. And so this is a big reason why some of our nonprofits go solar with us. They like that pay it forward model, that it's not just them going solar, it's going to help that next nonprofit go solar too. And then these are our impact areas. We work with a lot of different nonprofits. If a nonprofit impact area isn't listed here, we're always open to working with them. But we work in 11 different impact areas right now, and have 50 projects in these areas, including nonprofits that are serving BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. Veterans are 2 VFW, Veteran of Foreign War Posts in South Carolina. Youth nonprofits, similar to the Harbor House that I talked about. Arts nonprofits, our first nonprofit was a dance center, nonprofit dance center in Berkeley, California. Housing nonprofits, it's a big category for us. We've helped a number of nonprofits who specifically are nonprofits that are serving low-income residents, either through providing housing options for them. We also do health, so mental health and physical health, animal shelters, faith-based, conservation, community development focused, and then food and agriculture as well. So I just wanted to highlight a few of our nonprofits and kind of show a little bit and tell their story. So this is Primates Incorporated, and kind of segues a little bit into our next conversation, which will be the Solar Ambassadors. So this is brought to us by the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee students. They led this project from start to finish, and it was a 14 kilowatt system. This is a unique project for us. It's a ground mount system, since their animal enclosures are not conducive for having solar on them. I'd say about 95% of our systems are roof mounts, but this is a ground mount system. And it basically provides monkeys who have been in facilities where they're being tested, an opportunity for them to retire in a humane way out of those testing and laboratories. So it's a great nonprofit and solarized by solar, and they're able to save about 30,000 spread over a course of 20 years. So it goes directly back into that nonprofit. Second one is East End Community Services. This is our second project of 3 that the University of Dayton Solar Ambassadors help bring solar to. They'll save about 17,000 in their electricity bill savings, and it's a 27 kilowatt system. And they focus, it's a low income area of Dayton, East Dayton, and they focus on youth, family, and neighborhood development to help break the cycle of multi-generation poverty within that specific area. And then our last one, it's a project that we're really proud of, is the VFW post. So we helped the first VFW post in South Carolina go solar, and that was VFW post 10804. And then that post talked to their neighbor post and actually let them know that they went solar, how they were saving money and being more resilient. And that second post went solar too. And this project was led by our Coastal Carolina Solar Ambassador team. And so the second VFW invited the Coastal Carolina team to come talk and learn more about the system, and they decided to go solar as well. So I really love this, and I think it shows that solar is, there's so many organizations that are interested in going solar, and I love the story of that one nonprofit kind of inspiring the next nonprofit to go solar. And then our last one I'll highlight, it's our biggest project. It's a combination of 4 housing projects of 1.7 megawatts, and around 66 million pounds of CO2 will be avoided. And this is for Augusta Communities. They are a nonprofit located in Southern California that provides housing for low-income families that are at or far below the poverty line. And it's a mobile home park. And what makes them special is that as a nonprofit, they provide a lot of services to their residents. So they have a after-school program for students where they've received homework help. They have free summer and winter camps for students. They have scholarship funds for the students who live in the neighborhood or who live in the community who are going to college. And they also have ESL, English as a second language classes, and a food pantry. So more than just a housing unit, and all of their savings, which is quite a lot of savings, will go right back into those programs. So it will help directly serve the members that live there. So that's a little bit about our solar financing for nonprofits. We're always happy to work with solar installers who are interested in bringing solar to a nonprofit. And I will say before we get into the program, Solar Ambassador program, that if you have a nonprofit that is interested in going solar, the process is you can send them to us, or you can connect with us, and then we help provide them a quote based on the installation cost and their electricity usage. And we always honor the relationship that the installer had with the nonprofit, and will utilize that installer to help install the solar installation. So always wanted to just make sure that we do honor that relationship that they do have. But yeah, we're always happy to help. We provide a free quote. So if you do have a nonprofit now or in the future that is interested in going solar, we're happy to help provide a free quote if they are struggling with that financial piece. And so now I want to segue into our Solar Ambassador Fellowship program. It's a program that I lead at RE-volv, and yeah, happy to discuss more. So it's a year-long fellowship. It's an academic year-long fellowship from early, late summer to around May, so around September to May timeframe. And it's provide solar professional development training for ambassadors. And the program started in 2014, and we've trained about 400 fellows at 30 universities throughout the country. And our teams range from different states. So we have a couple located in California currently, Washington, DC, South Carolina, Ohio, Indiana. So all across the country, we have ambassador teams. And so as ambassadors, they work in teams and they help bring solar to a nonprofit in their university. They run a community engagement campaign, and they're involved in local solar policy initiatives. If there is a local solar policy initiative that's going on, such as the NEM 3.0 in California, our ambassadors were involved in helping support some of that work and attending rallies. So there's a couple different components about the Solar Ambassador Fellowship. So as our solar ambassador, our solar ambassadors lead a solar project. So they help bring solar to a nonprofit near their university. So a lot of our ambassadors have intentions of going into a career in solar clean energy or sustainability broadly. I'd say that a majority of them are interested in wanting to learn more about the career. And so they're learning about solar, renewable energy, green technologies, and their classroom. And this is a way for them to have hands-on experience in leading a project and that project management experience, and really be able to see their hard work kind of come to life within the community. And so they help bring solar to a nonprofit, leading the project from start to finish and really spearheading that project with assistance from us. And then just coordinating on timelines and progress, and really being that, communicator with the nonprofit. And then another thing really important for us is engaging the community. So after a nonprofit goes solar, that's just the start of it. It's not the end of it for us. We really help the ambassadors and ourselves. We organize solar energy events. The ambassadors do that on campus in their community. And then after solar, a nonprofit has gone solar, they also host a ribbon cutting event. And those events usually bring out the media and press, elected officials, government employees to come talk about the impact of solar, and all in addition to the community of the nonprofit. And the ambassadors really use that as a way to educate the community about solar. We invite the installer out to talk to people who are interested in going solar. And it's a great event to kind of celebrate the accomplishments, and also have good news for the community to share and enjoy. And then also educating the community about solar too. And so that looks very different for all of our nonprofits. So there's some nonprofits where, as I mentioned before, for Harbor House, they did some educational events for the students. Others have gone and volunteered with that nonprofit, talked about solar energy with that nonprofit. So our ambassadors come up with creative ways to be able to engage that community of that nonprofit and the community at large in the nonprofit solar system. And then what really makes it a fellowship is our learning opportunities. So we provide educational opportunities on solar, community engagement, project management, and communications. And then students are also able to attend webinars and workshops. So we have a monthly webinar and workshop for our students every month. And then we also start off the year with a 2-day leadership training. And then we have a solar careers course and a boot camp that they take independently online. And our webinars always bring in individuals from throughout the industry. So we've had the Sierra Club come talk. We've had solar installers and people who are working at solar companies come talk, talking about events and different things like that to hopefully help build our solar ambassador networks, and then also help them learn about all of the concepts of the fellowship, and hopefully they'll be able to take that into their careers as well. So for the fellowship, we have 6 components of it. The main one is helping nonprofits go solar near their university. The second one is planning educational events, whether that's at their school or in their community, to help spread solar and clean energy. A lot of these look like professor panels, where a professor will come talk about climate and renewable energy, film screenings, author talks, even tabling events, whatever they can do to help get solar out in front of the students and their community at large. And that kind of goes along with educating the community about solar. If there is a local solar policy or advocacy work, then our solar ambassadors are engaged in that work in some way or another, through either having students sign petitions or going to rallies, or speaking about or advocating for solar policy. One of our solar ambassador teams in Coastal Carolina, they were focused on a solar policy that made a big impact in their community. So they, their local electricity company had a $5 rider fee every month for anybody who had a solar installation. And profit margins in South Carolina are pretty tight because the lower cost of electricity. So that $5 a month over 20 years is a lot. And so our ambassadors actually advocated for the nonprofit that they were helping to go solar to have that removed. So it made that project a lot more profitable for the nonprofit and to save them money. So they do a lot of different things like that, but it's great to see that ambassadors are also working on their own campaigns as well. And then tell the story as a big thing. A lot of the nonprofits we work with are just amazing nonprofits. They're serving the community in amazing ways. And so being able to use that story and to help tell that story in an engaging way and why they went solar is really important to us. And how they're going to use those solar savings is something that their donors and their community members really like to see. And then just learning more about solar and community engagement from our ambassador side. This is a photo of Mission of Mary. It's a nonprofit that the Dayton team helped bring solar to about 4 or 5 years back. So they had a nice ribbon cutting event in snow, but it's great to see that solar installation and it's visible from their farm. They're a nonprofit that works, that provides sustainable food and at lower prices to lower income community members. So through our program, we also have a certificate of completion, which ambassadors can decide to participate in. It's 124-hour, a 20-hour certificate with the motive of ambassadors can put this on their resume to bring when they apply to their first job out of graduation, to show to solar installers and renewable energy companies the work that they've done and the skills that they have learned through the fellowship. And then quickly cover our training and educational opportunities. So as I mentioned, we cover solar industry basics, solar financing, project development, nonprofit outreach, community engagement, event planning, project management, and grassroots organizing. So we really designed to help set up students for a career in the renewable energy space or the sustainability space at large. And then before I get into the program benefits, I wanted to talk a little bit about this photo. So going back to the Mission of Mary photo that the ambassador team helped bring 5 years ago, the current solar ambassador team just 2 weeks ago went out and engaged with Mission of Mary on a campus event. So you can see their solar installation up at the top of their building. And Mission of Mary, they had a youth camp that came in. They were getting hands-on in the garden. They have a small scale garden there. And so the students were learning about sustainable agriculture and sustainability in general. And so the Mission of Mary invited our solar ambassadors to come talk about solar and renewable energy. So students were able to look at the solar systems and then also use solar toys and different things like that to really identify and see how solar is used. So these are kind of examples of events that our ambassadors do and the impact that they have in the community and being connected with those community partners over a long period of time. So for our program benefits, they're able to join a network of alumni and current students. We have 400 alumni and current students in the program. And so that's a large network. We have students who are working at the large solar installers like Tesla Solar or Sunrun, renewable energy labs, it's from nonprofits working on solar energy, a lot of different career paths that our ambassadors have been in. And so they're able to join that network and our educational opportunities that I mentioned, that hands-on experience. I think that's something really important to the students. Being able to take what you're learning in the classroom and seeing that real world impact, I think is a really important thing for our students and is something that gets them really excited about. Spearheading a solar project for a nonprofit. Our professional development training. We also have one-on-one mentorship with ourselves with RE-volv. And so I meet with our ambassador teams on a monthly basis or more to discuss, provide tips and insight and to help them as they're making their way throughout the fellowship experience. And then there's also opportunity for students to earn college credits. So as a volunteer position, students are able to, if dependent on their university and their department that they're in, but if they have the opportunity to earn college credits or take this as an internship for a requirement, we're always happy to work with the university and the student. And then just taking action on climate change, which I think as a student in undergrad, that was something that was really important for me to be learning about sustainability and climate change, but being like, I want to make an impact now and not when I graduate. And so giving those students the opportunity to kind of take a project and run with it. So quickly, I'll go over the steps of solarizing a nonprofit for our ambassadors. So they reach out to nonprofits near their university. A lot of ambassadors have already volunteered with that nonprofit before. Maybe they have a connection through a professor. Their sustainability resource center knows of a nonprofit that is interested in going solar. And then they collect the 12 months of utility bills, which we'll use to build a solar proposal. And then the ambassadors and ourselves present the proposal to the nonprofit. It depends on each one. Our Coastal Carolina team is actually as a class at Coastal Carolina. And so the ambassadors were completely in charge of presenting the entire proposal. They did a test proposal with us, and then they presented the entire proposal to the board, answering questions and really gaining that hands-on experience in that. So that's a unique program where it's a class at that university, but we always try to, as a small team, we always try to accommodate and make the program as most successful and most beneficial to our ambassadors and what they want to learn. And then if the nonprofit is interested in going solar, they either sign the PPA or lease, and then the solar is installed. And through that, the solar ambassadors are taking photos and videos, planning out their community engagement strategy. And then they will plan their ribbon cutting event and make a video. A video is something that we always like to do for all of our ambassador-led projects, where the nonprofit, the ambassadors are talking about the impact of this project and helping to spread the word about the project as well. So for setting up a team on campus, if you're interested in joining, you'd form a team. We have a minimum of 3 students required for new teams to start. And then having our members complete our onboarding steps, which is our completing our boot camp and signing up on our website. And then having an onboard meeting with myself to talk about the fellowship and next steps. And then becoming an on-campus club, finding an advisor. We provide all of the guidance on a national level and really help in the events and different things like that. But it's nice to have an on-campus advisor that knows a little bit more about the pulse of that university and the local community that we don't know at that national level. And then assigning roles and responsibilities. And so for becoming an ambassador, it's signing up on our website, which is included below, completing our boot camp, schedule a meeting with us, and attending our summit training in the fall. So we like to have our ambassadors joining by around September to be able to meet us at our virtual leadership summit. And this is the link is just re-volv.org/volunteer if you'd like to learn more. And before I finish, I just wanted to highlight 2 of our ambassador projects that we did this year. One is for the University of Dayton. It's an amazing nonprofit that they help solarize called Oak Tree Corner. It's a nonprofit that supports children ages 3 through 18 who have lost someone important in their life, and they provide grief support groups and support for families to help support their children through this time. And one thing I love about this project too is that the solar installation is right at the front of their building. So not only will the people who utilize this nonprofit be able to see that, but it's right on the main street of Dayton, Ohio. Thousands of cars pass by it every day. So it's a great thing for people to look at. Our second one is Gonzaga University. They're located in Washington. They help transitions go solar. They're a nonprofit that helps women and children who are experiencing homelessness transition out of that and into a more stable living environment. And so they provide transitional housing as well as a lot of workplace development, workforce development, and different things like that for the women and children locally. And then before I wrap up, I wanted to talk about our impact to date. So this is a quick overview of what we've done to date. So we've contracted 10 million in solar projects, around 3.3 megawatts of solar financed, and about 181 million pounds of CO2 avoided. And through our projects, we've served 55,000 people who are served by our nonprofits. And we've helped 50 nonprofits in 13 states. We just added our 13th in Montana in April. And overall, through the course of 20 years, we'll be saving nonprofits about 17 million in their electricity bills, and then 400 ambassadors trained at 30 universities. And before I end off, I also wanted to talk briefly about the ASES student chapters. So I know we talked about RE-volv, Solar Ambassador Fellowship opportunity. And as an ASES board member, I wanted to make a plug for ASES student chapters as well. Myself and Anna and the RE-volv staff help lead the student chapters for ASES. And the student chapters are at each university where they're helping and working on various solar and renewable energy projects. They do a lot of events and different things like that. So I would say it's a complementary program to RE-volv's. Students can be involved in both, but feel free to reach out to me as well if you have questions about ASES student chapters and starting a student chapter at your university. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you all for being here, for listening, and I included my information as well. If you're listening to this on a recording, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have over email. But yeah, thank you so much, Carly, for the invitation to speak.
Thank you, Sydney. That was wonderful. Question about the preference that RE-volv might have between the PPA and the solar lease option. Do you have a preference, or do you find that the nonprofits have a preference?
Yeah, thank you. So we prefer the PPA just because it's easier for our accounting purposes. With the solar lease, it's a fixed monthly cost. And then at the end of the year, we do a true up where we're giving that rebate back to the nonprofit, or maybe they have to pay a little bit. So we prefer the PPA since it's a month by month basis of the actual cost. Both are going to be the same at the end of the year. I just think the PPA is more what a nonprofit would be used to in terms of how they see their electricity bill come through every month. But we prefer the PPA, but are happy to do both.
Great. Well, it's so wonderful to see the synergy between the two programs of the Solar Access Financing and the Solar Ambassadors Program. And then, as you mentioned, the connection with the ASES student chapters.
Yes, yeah. I'd say many of our projects are from our solar ambassadors, and those are the projects that we see a lot of impact in. The ambassadors really do an amazing job. They're always selecting and working with amazing nonprofits, and as they've had a relationship in that community, you just kind of see it grow. So I was able to go to Dayton for their ribbon cutting event back in the fall, and all of the 3 nonprofits they helped solarize were within a 1.5 mile radius from each other. So it was super amazing to see that. And as one nonprofit was interested in going solar, they reached out to another nonprofit that had gone solar with the team to just learn more about the process. So it's great to see those synergies, and yeah, the synergies with ASES as well, and our fellowship and the student chapters.
Yeah, and over 50 nonprofits have received your solar financing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I'd say one thing I forgot to mention is that our nonprofit sizes vary. So we've had a 3 kilowatt system, and then our biggest has been 560 kilowatts. And those were the Augusta projects of the low-income housing community that we highlighted. And so a wide range of the kilowatt size that we serve, but I'd say 560 is pretty high. That's our biggest. Most of them are around 10 to 30 kilowatts we see.
Great. Well, it's so wonderful to see such a strong impact on the community. So thank you so much, Sydney Munoz of RE-volv, for joining us today and sharing about your program.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carly, for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone.
Yeah, thank you for joining.